There is a book that many have wanted erased from history because it gave everyday, ordinary people power that was only reserved for the elite at the time. This manual gave people the recipe to tap into a force that is much greater than them that many have even forgotten about. Many of you may have even contacted this force unintentionally when you walk into a room and feel the tension, when you're talking to someone and resonate with them emotionally, giving shivers going up your spine. This is not an accident and it's not by mistake. This force is known as life force by the ancient mystics and teachers. And the thing about this text, known as the Corpus Hermeticum, gave people the truths, the knowledge to actually shape and control energy. Energy not being just the internal thing functioning inside of them that we get through the food we eat and the air we breathe, but the very essence of reality itself, being able to bend it to their will, being able to control reality instead of being a slave to it. And there's a process that I've been using over the last 6 to 7 months that I've made contact intentionally with this energy, and it's radically changed my life. The way I think about things, the way I feel about things, and the way I can direct my energy into the things that produce real results. Now, the very lack of energy is the reason why many people today feel depressed, burnt out, disconnected from a lack of purpose. So how do we reignite this part of ourselves? How do we connect with this force that's much greater than ourselves? That almost is like an invisible substance that creates the essence of reality itself. This is not just some woo-woo principle, because even in a book I read by Joe Dispenza, he outlines modern research that's been done to show the very nature of reality being made up by energy itself, showing that the space between atoms is 99.9% empty, making that 0.0001% actual real matter. And even that matter is known as something as a precipitate. Precipitate being a sort of technical term or fancy term for saying a droplet. It is something that's been congealed out of this energy into physical matter. So what you see before you is to you seeming real, but is able to be shaped and shifted by this energy. Now there's a process of doing this, and the ancients talked about this in this text. And there's a fundamental principle within this text that has almost been stripped of its real meaning. This is the idea that your internal world is responsible for shaping your external reality. Now, a good example of this is, have you ever thought about a specific kind of vehicle that you want? A yellow car, red car, a Ferrari, whatever. You really start believing that you can have this, that it can become attainable to you. Or better yet, you actually just bought a new vehicle. You buy a new truck, a certain model and make and color, and now you're seeing these everywhere. Where were they before? Why were you not able to see them? This is maybe a little bit of a surface level explanation of how our internal world actually shapes our external reality. The thoughts and emotions that are anchored in our beliefs and our perceptions, the way we view the world, will reveal the very opportunities that resonate with us. And the ancient mystics also talked about this idea that this energy, when it's flowing clearly through us, gives us a sense of clarity, purpose, and direction that we may have not had before. Now, an interesting analogy that I make for this is this idea that you are on a train, and so long as you know the destination of where you're going, this energy is almost like the engine propelling the train to where you need to be, with your thoughts and emotions and beliefs being like the rails that this train is running on. Now, act with misaligned beliefs and emotions, misaligned thoughts, and this train will quickly derail itself, sending you in a direction that you don't really desire. But in aligning your thoughts, emotions, and actions on the rails of this destination that you're heading to, this universal life force, when you make contact with it, will propel you ever greatly, ever more quickly towards your destination. This is a very process of manifestation itself, and it's overlooked by many people who teach these kind of things. Now, there's a certain process that I actually teach to make contact with this universal life force. And it's something that's been written about when the original laws of attraction were being written. And it's this idea that when you step into a state of relaxation, you open up your nervous system to making contact with this energy that we've been cut off from. And then entering into a state of silence, you now become the observer of your reality, no longer attached to these thoughts and emotions that are most likely not even yours. Now, once you begin doing this, you'll begin to see opportunities arising for you that you may have not even seen before. Your perception will begin to shift, and you'll begin to feel differently about the ways that you start to act, the ways in which you were acting before that were no longer in alignment with who you really are or who you desire to be at your final destination. Now, sometimes we also need a little bit of a nudge in the right direction. This knowledge that I'm sharing with you might be quite helpful. It might move you in a certain way or motivate you, but action is the key part of this. And it's something that's also mentioned in this Corpus Hermeticum as the principle of care. Care being the combination of thoughts, emotions aligned with a certain type of action. And when you start moving towards the thing you desire, the clarity will come through that action. But I have something called the Clarity Catalyst, which is a way for you to reach out to me personally. And I can help you in applying this energetic principle, applying these principles from these ancient texts that have been used by elites to shift and shape their reality, that I've used myself with great success. And there's a link down below for that. There's also the free guide for Universal Life Force Energy. This is another video that goes into the details of relaxation and silence here. Subscribe to the channel if you've not already. Until next time, peace.